Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Radically Real, the new podcast that's going to change everybody's life. I'm convinced. I am here today with a very good friend of mine, Josh J. Paul. Josh, tell everybody who you are and what you're up to.
Hey everybody, my name is Josh and I'm 36 and I'm out here in Costa Rica. That's the landscape you see behind me here. What do? I am the founder of Mindful Masculinity in Motion, which is actually a global men's movement that seeks to give men a space where we can actually network, build friendships, and build legacies together. In addition to that, I am a 3-time published author, 2 of those times with best-selling in 48 hours. I do tarot, sound healing, and run men's retreats and offer something that I call self-mastery consulting, which is essentially one-on-one sessions where we talk about your inner leadership before we talk about the leadership that you actually share with the world outside.
And what I really want you to tell people is what you left to get this going.
Absolutely. So, I grew up in Toronto my whole life. I always thought that Canada was going to be home for me. And then, something happened in 2020, and then that kind of shifted things a little bit. And essentially, I was working in a space of helping people to save for their retirement. That was my 9 to 5 gig. It was really advising people around the investments they need to make so that they can feel secure that they're actually going to reach a point where they can actually retire. And what I found is that in doing the math for everybody, 99.9% of those folks weren't going to make it. And they were kind of being duped by the industry and by the different mandates, if you will, that I had in occupying my role. And that just didn't sit well with me. So I found that although I was working remote, I was highly stressed all around the clock. And so I started regularly waking up at about 5 in the morning with my alarm, which was set to wake me up about 2 hours later. And my heart was just beating out of my chest. Like I felt like I was having a heart attack every day. And I just said to myself, you know what? My family and everyone who came before me didn't work this hard just for me to die in my bed.
Hmm.
At a
Hmm.
time in life where things are seemingly more comfortable and easy and all that stuff than ever, right? So, at that point, we ended up in conversation with you, Cece, my wife, uh, Suki, and I. You were a very big part of our turning point, I feel. And within a couple months of chatting with you, we decided to list our home, decided that we were going to sell everything, leave my job behind and explore the world.
Hmm.
We wanted to travel. We said that, we're in our 30s and we want to experience life and see what it has to offer for us. We've worked really hard, multiple jobs,
Hmm.
18-hour days, all that kind of stuff. And we just said there has to be more to life. So we treated ourselves to that. And we've been doing that for about a year and a half. And we landed in Costa Rica. I actually got invited out to Costa Rica by one of the eco villages out here. They have an annual festival and they said, hey, we really like what you're all about. So we want you to come out, do a workshop and a speech for us. And that was our first intro to Costa Rica. We fell in love with it. And essentially, the opportunities to be here and plant roots and really make some impact have evolved since then. So that's what's brought us here, and plenty has unfolded since the beginning of 2025. 2026 is already off to a great start, and all of it just keeps getting more and more exciting every day.
I know. I just can't even believe that it's almost 6 years since the world went to complete shit.
Right? Time
Like,
flies.
I know we just recorded your podcast, and I'm going to butcher the name, so you need to say it. Umana
The
Yani.
Umana Yana podcast.
Okay, so we
Yeah.
just recorded a podcast with Josh. So you guys, I'll link everything below so you can go listen to it. It was a really great podcast. But I'm gonna say what you said to me in one of our coaching sessions
Yep.
is that does leaving all of this behind make me a little bitch? As in like giving up on himself. And I think a lot of people can take away from that. And it sounds like I just remember that moment because you were so serious and you were so angry and you were so like, and had so much conviction when you said it because you obviously were feeling that. And I think we talked about this today already is that people operate on fear. And
Yep.
it's like fear of leaving the job, leaving the comfort, leaving everything behind, leaving what doesn't like what's not normal nowadays. People
Yeah.
think it's not normal to do exactly what I did too. I walked away from everything as well.
Mhm.
But I want people to understand that staying and doing the thing that sucks the life out of you is what makes you a little bitch. Not leaving the thing. Running towards what you want is what you should be doing. And we can both attest to that because that is what we're doing.
Yeah, no doubt. And you really helped me to see that. As I shared earlier, you helped me to see how stuck I was allowing myself to be, if you will. I really was too focused on what I felt I was giving up and
Mhm.
risk not getting back in a different form. That was
Mhm.
keeping me stuck. And I think at the very core, like if I really, really go to the root of the whole thing, I think that what I didn't want to do is confront the fact that the way that I was encouraged to live by all the people around me, by my community, by just life itself was
Mhm.
wrong. And it
Yeah.
wasn't actually going to lead me to fulfillment. And I think I resisted that quite a bit. I've expressed that a lot of what I've done with folks is really empower them, and part of my empowerment, the way I do that, is I actually sit with them and I help them to go through their numbers. Right?
Mhm.
I literally say, guys, let's grab a paper and a pencil, let's do the math. Right? And this
Yeah.
is part of what helped me to see that things needed to shift for myself because I think that
Yeah, the math wasn't mathin'. But I think that's like everybody though. Like people get these ideas that I'm not happy with my job. I'd love to do XYZ. I would love to do this. I'd love to start this company. I'd love to do that. But then they just decide to stay comfortable
yeah,
and just stuck doing whatever it is that they're doing that they're completely unfulfilled, completely miserable. And they think, oh, well, I have this cushy paycheck. I have this, I'm the vice president of operations or whatever they are. And
yeah.
they attach themselves to that role when it's not even really what they want.
Exactly. And I had to really confront that when I was at my previous job and there was a promotion that came up and I was looking at him like, okay, I feel so qualified for this. There's no reason I shouldn't have it, right? So, you do the interviews, you do all that stuff, and like I totally didn't like the way they were going about the interview, like the things that they were trying to get out of me for that role,
Yeah.
right? And I'm like, you guys don't actually want someone to do this role the way you say you want them to. You
No,
want
they
like a
wanted they
filler.
wanted a marionette.
Yeah. And I'm like, that wasn't going to work for me. And so, like, I actually ended up in a space of gratitude for not getting the promotions that I thought I wanted.
Yeah.
Right. And what I was really doing there is I was going for the money. Right.
Yeah.
Like, it was the
Totally.
money that at that point, it was like, okay, like something's got to give from a financial perspective. Right.
Yeah.
So, what I started to realize is like, when I'm just going for something for money, it's not going to be fruitful in the long run.
Yeah.
Right. And I have to be very specific about what it is that I'm talking about that I want. Right. So, for example, if I'm trying to get something at work, okay, well, am I trying to get an aligned position? Am I trying to get money? Right. Because we're going to get exactly what it is that we either ask for or don't ask for.
Yeah,
Right. I've realized that
100%.
we have to be very, very specific about that because I've seen a lot of folks who got the role that I wanted or said I thought I wanted. And I kid you not, it's like they disappeared off the face of the planet
Yeah.
because they're so busy. They're working on the weekends all the time. They're getting, different immune issues that are like so dated that it's like, did I hear you correctly?
Yeah.
That's what you're suffering from right now,
Yeah.
right? Like it just became such a thing where it's like, okay, like this is not serving me one bit, right?
Nope.
Like all of this is just designed to suck me in and suck the life out of me. So there's no way that this can be it.
And I think sometimes, no, actually, no, I think actually all the time, I think that some people think, oh, like, poor me, I didn't get this opportunity. I always say it's this or something better. So if you didn't get the opportunity that you were going for, it's because something better was awaiting for you on the other side, if you were open to receiving it.
Absolutely.
You
That's
have
such
to
a
be
big part of
open
it.
to receiving it, right? Because people are
Yeah.
like, "Oh, poor me, and my life sucks, and if I didn't have bad luck, I'd have no luck." And it's like, well, yeah, if you keep thinking like that, that's exactly what you're gonna that's probably why I have tech issues all the time because I say it all the time. I gotta start saying, "I have no tech issues. My computer loves me, and there's no reason for it to have tech issues every single day."
You're a tech wizard. When I have a tech issue, I'm going to call you, Cece.
Yeah. I'll be like, "Yeah, no, my computer's fucked and it never works." But it is true is that it's this or something better.
Very true. And the moment we actually connect with that, I found such power because like I've never been one to say that out loud, right? But I actually had an experience that happened probably a few months ago where we were sitting in a group, right? And we were talking and everyone's contributed to a project that we're working on and stuff. And like it came to a point of like it was almost like you were being asked to declare how badly you wanted it,
Mhm.
right? And it's like, look, like I've shown you with my actions, with my words, where I give my time, that I'm all about this, right? So I'm sorry if that's not enough for you, right? Just like there was something before you,
Yeah.
there will be something after you,
That's more
right?
aligned and meant for me.
Right? And I found that that moment was a big eyes getting wide for everyone around me because they're like, wow, he believes what he's saying right now,
Well, that's
right?
it. That's it.
And that's what people need. I feel they just need to hear people say something and believe it, right? Because that gives them the permission to also be like, oh, hang on. Yeah, if I do look back at my life and every single time something didn't work out the way I wanted to, look how it did turn out. And
100%.
life has shown me this in so many ways. A lot of the time was actually in the 4 years that we were down there in Innisfil, right? Where it's just like, you know what? Like you gotta be flexible with sort of the destination, if you will, right? Or
Mhm.
sorry, not flexible with the destination, but flexible with the directions to get to the destination,
Yes. No, I knew
right?
what you meant. I knew what you meant. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. And
And
that
yeah,
destination just might not be meant for you.
absolutely. We have to accept that too, right?
Well, and we have to believe this or something better.
100%.
This or something better. And I know we had just talked about this, but we're gonna talk about it again, is that, I closed my multiple six-figure business. I walked away from it completely. I did not sell it. Everyone's like, "Oh, you sold it. You must have done so well." I was like, "No, I closed it and walked away. I did not sell it." And the one
Mm,
number one reason for that, totally off topic, but the number one reason for that was that I just didn't think anyone could run it with the same level of integrity that I did for 11 years, so I was unwilling to sell it. But I
got it.
truly believed that after that, there was gonna be something better for me. But the biggest thing is that leaving everything comes with grief. You do
Definitely.
grieve your old life a little bit. So it's not to say like you leave the thing and you start pursuing the things that you truly want and that feel more aligned. Like you're going to question the shit out of yourself if you've made the right decision.
Yep.
But ultimately, when I look back at everything, is that I made really good money, usually Sundays, 10 grand or more into my bank account. Now, obviously, that wasn't all mine, but like that's, what I was
Yep.
used to on Sundays. I get a big deposit from the week. And people think that that's enough. We just talked about this, that the money is enough, but it's not enough when you are like doing something that is soul sucking, where you don't want to go to work, where you just like, I would drive by my business and just get anxiety.
Okay. Wow.
Like, it was so bad, and I think that a lot of people feel that way just about, like, their job, their everyday life, and they don't pursue the things that they want because they're like, "Oh, I'm not gonna have enough money to live." Well, that's probably true given the climate that we live in, but there's nothing to stop you from doing the thing that you love in the evening and then turning it into the thing that you love full time.
Yeah.
You
That is a
also
possibility.
do have to want it, and you
Yeah.
do have to make the sacrifice of time and effort and those things, like, you do have to do those things, but most people won't do that because it requires time and effort, and most people just won't do that.
Yeah.
They just won't. That is just a
Very true.
fact. That's why
Yeah.
there's such a small percentage of people that succeed in life is because most people are unwilling to do the work. And one of my mentors years ago, who I mentioned in your podcast, Keith Otto, he said, the things that people need to do to win are so basic and simple that they appear ridiculous. And that is why most people don't do them. And that is why most people don't succeed.
Yeah. I
And it
hear
is
that.
so true.
It
Like,
really
you're
is.
not happy, Josh? You should probably quit your job. So simple.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. It's like I find that we almost want the complex answer, right? Like having worked as a
Well, they want a
consultant.
reason not to do it. They want a reason not to do it.
They do, and like in seeing how some of the top performers in all industries and whatever, how the things that they credit their success to across the board, it's incredibly consistent. Like you could probably copy and paste all of it,
Yeah.
right? But what I often hear from folks is like, oh no, that's not real. That's not what they actually do. That's just this. It's always a rationalization of why that can't be the way.
Yeah.
Right. And it's so true. I mean, that's going to be one of the biggest jokes I feel for a lot of folks at the end of their life. They're going to be like, it really could have been that easy.
It really could have been
Yeah.
that easy. It really could have been that easy. And here's the thing is that, like, people think that the money is what makes you happy, but it's like, no, what makes you happy is just doing the things that you love.
Yeah. It's true.
That's it. Like, it's pretty
Yeah.
simple. Like, I do not have money coming in right now. Very little money coming in. Some, but not enough at all.
Yeah.
However, I would not trade my old life for this one. No frickin' way.
Yeah.
No way. Like, while you were going outside, I ran to the chicken coop and got 4 chicken eggs. Like, that is fucking awesome. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like,
The life.
that's the life. It's like
Yeah.
you need to decide what it is that makes you happy. If you're happy at your job, working and you're loving it and just whatever, awesome. I think that that's
Yeah.
so great for you. But if you're not happy, there are ways for you to be happy,
Yeah.
but it just requires sacrifice.
For sure. And like something that I definitely got stuck in is like, as we progressed in a job and stuff like that, for me, every time that I moved or looked ahead to the next one, part of what I just said was standard, like I didn't even think about it, is like I need to get paid more for that. right?
Oh,
And
for
then
sure.
I'm not
I feel that
thinking,
way now, and I don't even have, like, a real job.
right? But like what where I was going with that is like, I don't factor in the added responsibility and then
Yeah.
added suck on my time that's
Yeah.
going to happen for in that exchange, right?
Yeah.
And also like I never really thought about, okay, well, what does it look like for me to take a position that is lower, right? And make less money than I was making right now. And what's so interesting is naturally that's happened to me as we've lived in Costa Rica, right?
Yeah.
I've been
Yeah.
like, okay, hang on. Let me actually just let me do the quick math. What do I need just to survive here?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
For, and
Yeah.
it's like, okay, let's look at that number and let's look at what I was probably going to chase for my next role, right? That
Yeah.
is one third of that,
Well, and
right?
I think that's the thing is that what you need to survive, I mean, it's obviously more in Canada because
Yeah,
we won't get into that. That'll be a different episode.
yeah,
Um, it's the cost of living is a lot more here, but like there are so many things that we don't do or get anymore that we just simply just didn't even need in the first place.
yeah. So
You know
true.
what I mean? Because now we have to pinch our pennies a little bit and we have because I don't have solid income right now just yet. And you sort of just cut back and make sacrifices where you can and I'm just as happy. I'm just as happy. I don't need to have like name brand certain like things I have to have name brand like craft dinner. It has to be name brand. It can't be the ghetto craft dinner. That I will, I'll spend
If
the
you have
extra
to
60 cents.
splurge, I mean,
Can't get ghetto
Rockefeller
alphagetti
over
for the
here.
kids. It's got to
Yeah,
be the real kind.
yeah.
Got to be Campbell's tomato soup.
There you go.
But you know what I mean? Like certain things that
Yeah,
you just don't need them anymore. There's just things that we don't need and we're just fine. I don't
yeah,
need all the extra things. But I think the idea of people going without scares them because everyone
absolutely.
operates on fear.
Yeah.
I
And
used to
like,
think that I couldn't live like more than 20 minutes away from a Sephora. I used to feel like that, like for
yeah,
real.
yeah.
No, I just have my Sephora shipped to my house now.
There you go.
But, like,
Problem
you know
solved.
what I mean? Like, you
Yeah.
don't you don't need the things that you think that you need.
It's very true. And
Yeah.
I found that living in Canada for, the 2020 to 2024 period really helped me to confront that and deal with that and have to adapt to that in real time.
Mhm.
Right? Like there are times when, no one would believe me where it's like I'm cashing out at the grocery store and it's like I have to put back bananas because
Oh, yeah.
for whatever reason, bananas put the budget way over the threshold. And like, I literally everywhere I would go, I would ask the cashier, right? Like, I'm like, okay, guys, like, as you look at this conveyor belt of things that I have here, which is like 4 items, is that really the total? And how are you affording this,
I know.
right? Like, I don't
That is how
understand,
we
right?
feel
So,
right now, like, I get that. I get
yeah.
that.
And like, no one would believe that, like, for a period of time while we were living in Innisfil and trying to make sure that our wellness space can stay open and accessible at prices
Yeah,
because, all that kind of thing, we're eating rice and beans,
yeah, but
right?
you were eating.
Because
You were
we were
eating.
eating 100%, but that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying. It's like it gave us a chance to like get to this point of like, how bad do you want what you say you want, right? And then at the same time, establish a boundary of like, okay, like my economy of my homeland here is just pushing me beyond the laws of what is reasonable here. So now a
yeah,
change needs to happen. But it just helped with that exercise of like, okay, yeah, you know what? You can figure out how to work out on the trees outside versus having a gym membership. You can figure out how to do this versus that, right? Like actual return to nature. Because at the
mhm,
core, even though we were living there and even in the best of times, what was still like the best parts of my day? It was standing outside and being able to hear the birds' wings flap because it
and
was
the
so
train.
quiet.
You had a train.
100% the train, right? Like it was all those things. So it helped
Yeah,
me to, my mom shared it this way. She's like, you know what? You had a chance to, as a child, be spoiled, if you will, at the right age
yeah,
because you got to see that all of these things are just things. They don't
yeah,
actually deeply impact anything. So now as an adult, I get to move through the world and I'm like, oh, I need, $500,000 car and $5 million home and this and that. It's like you understand what these things are for what they are and
yeah.
that it's more about you and what you bring to the space versus what the space gives to you.
Well, and I think that you realize that what you think that you want is not actually what you want.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And a big
'Cause you had that.
realization
You
for
had the train. Wasn't that like a thing? You always wanted to live next to a train
always
and you
did.
like
Always did.
like, I don't know
Yeah,
why, 'cause they're
that
so loud and annoying, but
they bring me peace
yeah,
when they're waking
there's one
everybody
here
else up.
there's one here in our town, and let me tell you, it's not peaceful. Um, I know when you told me that, I was like, "That's the weirdest thing."
Right.
Um, but it was something that you always wanted, and then
Yep.
you had that, and you had all of the things, and you were like, "Huh."
Hmm.
Maybe not.
Yep.
Maybe not. And I think some people, they get to that level of success or that level in their life or that area in their life, and they're like questioning, do I actually want this? And then they just keep going because they don't know what else they could do.
Hmm.
They don't
No, it's
try
so
to do
true.
anything, so they're scared, they're afraid, or they're afraid that it makes them look like a little bitch or whatever the case is.
Yeah.
It's like sometimes what you think you want is not what you want, and you don't know that until you have it.
Yeah. And I didn't even like I have been able to work hard and be on the receiving end of a lot of things that I've wanted, and I
Mhm.
think that especially with money becoming something that's such a weird concept, over the last few years, like the math not mathing as we've said before,
Yeah, yeah.
it helped me to really connect with this idea that, when I say I want to get promoted to this job or whatever it is, that's not actually what I want. I just want to receive the paycheck that that job would command. I don't
Yeah.
actually want that
And
job.
the title is it's nice to have the title, it's nice to have the income and blah
Yeah.
blah blah. Like I've never had like a super corporate job.
Yeah.
I did, but for a short period of time. Um but it's nice to like have that title.
Yeah, and I paralleled that to, like I'm a big basketball guy, so I parallel that to the NBA, and like a lot of guys, I wanted to make the NBA, right?
Yeah.
And now you get to see more behind the scenes than ever of how these guys live and the different constraints that are around them, and it's like now that I see it, it's like, oh yeah, I mean, it would be nice for me to have that $314 million contract, but I probably don't want to do all the things that you have to do in order to have that.
Yeah.
So what did I want? I want NBA money. I don't want to play for the NBA.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I think for me is like it was never really about the money, is that more that it was about the freedom of the things that you can do when you have the money.
Yeah,
So that is still very important to me. Um, I don't wanna sit here and say that money's not important because it is, and to order to have the freedom to do the things that I wanna do, I'm gonna need to have some money coming in at some point. So, of course, I'm still working towards that. But it's also having money doing something that feels aligned and
exactly.
doesn't feel soul-sucking and doesn't feel like I'm, like, trading my sanity for the money.
Yeah, absolutely. That's
Like
the gold right there.
yeah, and it truly is though,
Yeah,
and, like, people don't realize what comes with it when you like, people used to say to me, "Oh, you're so lucky, and it must be nice," and it's like, I work my fucking ass off.
exactly.
I
Eh,
put up with so much shit. I'm constantly having to come in when people call in sick. I'm constantly having to like, "Oh, you know what? Gotta get supplies every Sunday. Oh, this one's out of so and so. Someone locked themselves out of the salon. Gotta drive to the salon. Gotta like all of the things. Like that's
yeah,
just a tiny fraction of the tiny little things that I had to deal with. Or the 5 years that I spent, working from 9 to 9 every single day to be able to not have to be there full time. But
yeah,
even when you're not physically there, you're there. You have to answer emails. Your staff is emailing you. Your staff is calling in sick. It's just so many things that happen. I remember being in Mexico, and when I was there, my staff is calling me because the health inspector came and the hot water wasn't working in the bathroom,
yeah.
and we got like a whatever, like a I don't know what you call it.
Written up. Yeah,
We got written up by the health board for not having hot water in the bathroom. So I'm on the phone with a plumber trying to get him in there to figure out why it's not working. It's like, why the hell isn't it working? And why didn't anyone say anything? Like I'm in Mexico.
right. Yeah,
But like I couldn't even just be in Mexico. Couldn't
yep,
just enjoy my time and have a freaking break because you don't get a break. There is no break. So you have to realize when whatever it is that you're doing, whether you own a business, like for me, I've always been entrepreneurial, so I'm not working like a 9 to 5 like you were, but you have to realize whatever it is that you're doing, whether it's your own business or if you're working, is it sucking the life out of you?
right.
Are you okay with that or not?
That's true.
Yeah.
And we need to have like people that we can, I feel like, who we can actually trust as counsel to actually say these things to out loud, right?
Yeah.
Because sometimes if we just sort of keep it inside and it's like, okay, well, I got to do this, I gotta do this, like we just end up in a loop, and it's like, oh, there goes a decade, there goes
But
another
most
decade.
people don't think outside the box. Most people are like, "Oh, yeah, like you just got a great job and blah 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 blah." It's
Yeah,
like, "Mm, is this really what you think?" Because like you hear some people giving you advice and you're like, "Oh, like
it's
you've
true.
definitely been programmed. You've been programmed to think that way." And that's the
Yeah,
thing is that most people don't think outside the box. Most people won't open their own business. Like people thought I was crazy for opening my own business. My husband's parents tried to talk me out of it. So it's like there's just people that they're gonna go get a job, and they're gonna work that job for 40 years, and then they're gonna retire from that job, and then they're gonna live, in a freaking trailer or wherever they want and on their fixed income just because they don't have a choice, because that's what
Yeah.
they chose. And then they'll be like, "Oh, I wish I had done this, or I wish I had done that, or I wish I had opened the business, or I wish," whatever. We hear it all
Yep.
the time. People, they work
Absolutely.
these jobs and they're like, "I hate my life." And they didn't do anything about it because they were too scared, or people were telling them not to.
Yeah.
Why'd you
And
listen to someone that's not doing what you want to do?
exactly, right? And I mean, I think that like at the end of the day, we all know a cautionary tale about someone who didn't, chase that dream or do what it is that they really wanted to or end up with all those regrets, right? So we have all the data. All of us have countless examples in our own lives of people who didn't dare greatly and go for what it is that they deep
Mhm.
down really wanted to do, right? And I think that a big thing that people can realize through this transition that the world is just going through is like, okay, you know what? Like these things are their jobs and things like that, but we don't need to tie our whole identity to them. And they're not exactly giving us everything that they once did, perhaps,
Mhm.
right? Like they're not necessarily freedom. A lot of times they actually are ball and chain,
That's
right?
like a
They
constraint. Yeah.
they totally are, right? And until we actually sit with it and have a real conversation, and I think that this is part of why, the podcast movement and people actually opening up about these things is so important. It's like the more we realize that, hey, CC, you as a successful multiple time entrepreneur and this and that and whatever, you're still having struggles.
Of
Wow, wouldn't
course.
have expected that. Interesting. I
Yeah.
over here, Joe Schmo, am having struggles and I feel like I'm three pegs below you. Something's going on.
Yeah.
It can't be that you also feel the same way I feel. That doesn't make sense.
Well, God forbid
So,
we talk about that. Oh, we
right?
don't wanna
And now
talk
that we're
about it.
and that's what I'm seeing when we're collapsing it. It's like the people who are haven't made money for like 5 years and the people who are making like, half $1 million a year, everyone's saying the exact same thing. It's like the exact same script everyone's reading from,
Yeah.
right? And I
Yeah.
think that's part of where the magic happens now, right? It's like people
Mhm.
showing that, hey, I've lived on the highest of highs, and this is actually what it was like,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And when people actually like are like, oh my gosh, you're so lucky, you made it, you're successful. It's like I love to actually invite them now. I don't just accept and be like, oh, thanks, man. Yeah, you're right. I'm like, just out of curiosity, what are you noticing that you're saying I've been successful? Like, what are the markers that you're using to say that I'm successful?
Well, and the other
Because
thing too
that
is it's like, yeah, I'm successful, but you're only seeing what's happening on the outside.
right? But it
You're
also
not seeing
reveals to
me, like,
them,
sleepless nights and, like you were talking about earlier, anxiety and you're not seeing any of that. You're just seeing my nice SUV and whatever it is that you're seeing, my nice business. I don't know what you're seeing, but
yeah.
let me tell you, I'm not lucky.
Yeah. And I think that that's where part of the empowerment and unity comes in, right? It's like if we actually remove that word, because I feel it's a trigger, especially for people who have worked so incredibly hard, in the conversation that there's no luck here. It's about like looking at the trends. It's about carving a path forward, right?
Mhm.
Looking at what skills you've got and what skills you need to develop in order to get to where you want to go, right? It's
Yeah.
like it doesn't just fall from the sky. Like, I find oftentimes like we've talked about vision boards and the value of vision boards and stuff like that. But like sometimes people just think, okay, so you're telling me I'm just going to go, I'm going to clip a magazine, I'm going to put on a board and it's just going to happen. Yeah, that's how it happens.
Yep.
100%. Watch it
Yep.
happen for you right now.
Yep. Just
Right.
magical. There's no
Right. Like,
work involved at all whatsoever.
yeah. Once we show the behind the curtain view of like, there is no magic wand.
Nope.
Like these are still people working very hard. Like, I don't know about you, CC, but as an entrepreneur, I've worked longer hours than when I'm just
100%.
paid. Right. It's like my days actually look closer to 16 hours versus just a plug and play, maybe 10 hours,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's the thing is that people don't see that. They don't see that. They don't see that you were there at the shop or whatever you were doing, 2 hours before we opened to take care of whatever it is that you needed to take care of. Or no one saw that you were there because all your staff had to leave, so you had to clean the entire shop by yourself. Like, no one sees the sacrifices that you make. No one like this is what used to make me crazy because towards the end, I had 2 girls quit, and I was like, "I'm not freaking hiring anyone else," because I knew that I was gonna close. So, I had 2 girls quit, so it was like I had to be there full time all the time.
Yeah.
And for a while there, I was getting up in the morning, getting Molly ready for school, taking her and Axel to Montessori, then driving all the way back home, dropping Axel off to the nanny. I know that sounds so pretentious, but like dropping her off to the nanny at our house because she would come to the house, and then go to the salon, and then leave the salon at 3 o'clock to go pick Molly up, get her, take her back to my house, drop her off because my mother-in-law would come and watch them when Amanda had to leave, and then I would go back to the salon. Like that's the kind of shit that I had to do,
Right.
and that freaking sucks. No one saw any of that stuff that I was doing. Like, oh great, now I have to like leave today, go pick up my kid, go take her home. I don't get to spend the evenings with her, and she gets with
Mm.
her grandma, which was great. But like, I wanted that. You open a business for the freedom that you think is going to come along with it, and
Yeah.
then it starts to suck the life out of you. You're like, I'm not actually free. I'm a slave. I am a slave to my business, and that's what it started to feel like for me. Like, you felt like a slave to your job. I felt like a slave to my business. I was like, I am literally a slave to this business. I have no choice but to do this, and I don't want to do this anymore.
Right. And
No.
that's hard. I know it's hard, especially as an entrepreneur, for us to be like, okay, we've hit a wall here. Like, I remember having to exit out of my first entrepreneurial venture at about the 8.5 year mark, and it just felt so strange. It's like, I'm not supposed to give up, though, right? Like, I'm supposed to see this through all the way to the end. No, and it's like, mm.
I
And
think
so
when
it
it's
was,
just not aligned, it's just not aligned anymore, and that's it.
yeah,
And I think that, like, you're not quitting, and I think we had talked about this when we were sitting down with me, you, and Suki, is that, like, you're not quitting, you're doing something else now. Like, it's okay to stop doing the thing that you were doing because you don't wanna do it anymore.
yeah, it's true.
Like,
And I
sure, you
think
call it
like,
quitting, that's fine, but
yeah, yeah, that's true. I think a big part of stuff is maybe like us as a generation and whatnot, haven't necessarily been familiarized with the idea that we can have fun and we can derive joy from life as well.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
and I think that oftentimes when we see that something is gaining popularity, like say we make something and a lot of people love it, we have this reflex nowadays where it's like, okay, I have to turn that into a business, right?
Yeah.
Like it's like we're always looking for the next hustle, right? And it's like
Yeah.
nothing can just be purely for the sake of creativity and joy and art and
Yeah.
whatnot. Everything has to have a tag associated with it. And I think that that is also, it also prevents us from imagining a world where we can like not do jobs, but we can give our time and align it in a way that generates us abundance,
Yeah.
right? That we actually enjoy too. Like we
Yeah.
almost feel like to get something that I enjoy, I have to do something I hate. So I have to hate my job in order to get the money that I enjoy. It's like, no, we don't, right? But
Yeah.
that in itself is such a big conversation to crack open, right? Like,
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. But I think people, they put themselves, like, they look at social media. Let's look at it this way. They look at social media and they see this highlight reel. They're like, "Oh, it must be this way." But it's like, "No, you're not being shown what it takes." And I think, on the whole other end of the spectrum, when people go to start a business and they just think it's going to happen overnight,
yeah,
because all they're seeing is the end result.
yeah,
They're seeing people's end result. They're not seeing what the person went through to get the end result.
very true.
So when it doesn't work for them, they're like, "Oh, well, I guess I have to, like, this doesn't work, so I'm going to quit." And it's like, "Well, no, you need to fucking grind. Like, you still need to
Mm,
grind, but just grind doing something that you love.
right. Yeah,
Hustle doing the thing that you love." Like, there's a difference. You know what I mean? If you love what you're doing,
for
like, you're
sure.
hustling right now.
Yeah,
You're hustling right
I
now,
love you.
but you love what
Yeah,
you're doing. You're
definitely.
serving others, you know what I mean? Like, and that's the difference. I have another, guest coming in a few weeks, and she is the epitome of loving what she does, and she grinds,
Okay.
but she's so happy. Like, she is doing exactly what she wants to do. She's loving life, she loves her business, but she serves other people, she does fitness, but she genuinely loves it, and it's like, people need to understand, like, if you're grinding and you hate your life, there's a problem,
Yeah, I agree. 100% agree. Like
right?
it's so interesting that on New Year's Eve, I was actually preparing a proposal that I'd been working on for like a week or two, and I finished it up at around 11:30 p.m.
Yep.
Okay. And I had a moment to just step back from myself. I'm like, okay, Josh, like, had you been doing this for a job that paid you, you would be hating every second of your life right now.
Yeah.
But I have a smile on my face as we approach midnight
Yeah.
because this is something that I truly believe in,
Mhm.
right? And I think that there's this belief, if you will, that, oh, Josh is now out in Costa Rica. He's just chilling by the beach every day. It's like, no, man, my hours, if anything, they're very
Yeah.
comparable.
Yeah.
But the difference is the way I feel about it. I feel like I've actually received life from it.
That's it. That's
Not,
exactly it. It's like, and that is the big difference that people don't realize because you have all these wannabe entrepreneurs and they want to do this and they want to do that. But like the second it gets hard, they're like, oh, I'm going to quit because
yeah,
they're not willing to do what it takes.
for sure.
But if you're not happy, there's like, you have to be able to feel two things at the exact same time and understand like, are you not happy or are you just not trying hard enough to do the thing that you say that you want? You know
That's
what
a
I
great
mean?
point. That's a great point.
So
That's
it's
such a
like,
key.
yeah, like for me, for instance, I've started this new podcast and I've been reaching out to like creators, like lots of different creators that kind of um sort of align with my values, if you will, or someone who's people who are showing up online very authentically or entrepreneurs that I know and stuff like that. And I've been reaching out to people and I'm messaging hundreds of people to see if they want to be on this new podcast. And I'm happy to say I do have some really big creators that are coming on. I'm really excited about it. But what I'm thinking is like all the people that either read my message and didn't respond or just didn't read it at all, or one day they're going to regret that they ignored me.
Absolutely. They will.
And like I fully believe that, you know what I mean? So it's
Yeah,
like you can just either forge ahead or you can let the people that aren't responding to you stop you from moving.
definitely. No, it's so true. And I mean, like, no matter what you're in, whether it's sales or you're creating a podcast, like literally anything,
Mhm.
it's the formula for how you build momentum is very similar, no matter what you're doing, right?
Yeah,
You
it's
got to
by doing.
show up. You're going
Yeah.
to get some doors slammed in your face, but you're
Yep.
also going to get some doors that open. And you
Yeah.
can't walk through all doors at the same time. So it shouldn't matter
Yeah.
that some doors get slammed in your face,
Yeah.
right? And
But it
like,
does take work. So people, if you're listening to this, do the work.
yeah, ask
Do
an
the work.
entrepreneur what a day in their life is actually like
Yeah.
versus what you just see,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And who knows, in 10 years, I might be like, I hate this now. But here's
Yeah,
what I
very
do know.
possible.
Here's what I do know. I won't be afraid to try something else.
There you go. Right. And that's so important. That to me, like the fact that you're modeling that, right, is so important because that's going to serve as an example to at least one more person outside of you and I,
Yeah.
right? Who's going to be
And
like,
that's the hope. That is the hope.
right?
Like, I think at this point in my life is that I'm put here to show people that number one, you can just be the most authentic version of yourself. You can wear what you like. Look what I'm wearing. Do you see this? This is a
Love it.
Titanic kitty shirt. Like, who
That's so
wears
funny.
this? Me. I wear this. I wear this with this ugly heart sweater. I just
That's
don't
the
give a
best.
shit. I don't care. Wear what you want, do the things that you love, say what you want, don't hold back anymore. Like some of the things people say to me, mostly from people I know, they're like, "Oh, I just love how you're so outspoken and you say what you think." And I'm like, "It must be a miserable life not doing that."
It is. I can confirm it is.
Like I think you had just was it a reel that you posted or a story that you had just posted and it said something about you're going to be a lot more
Oh, it's a real. Yeah. I'm a lot more
blunt.
bold this year.
A lot more bold. Oh, I'll try and splice it into this video if I can figure out how to do the tech.
You're a tech wizard, so you'll be
I'm
able
a
to
tech
figure it out.
wizard. I am going to put that reel in this podcast so people can hear what you said. But I watched that, and this is because I know you. I watched that and I was like, well, you fucking better.
Yeah.
You fucking
Yeah.
better. And you better like, yeah, you might turn some people off, but the right people show up to hear that.
Yeah. And like that's been something I've actually observed. I mean, I credit you for some of this,
Thank
right? I
you.
really do. Because I found that whether out of trauma, anxiety, whatever words we want to toss at it, I've always been super anxious about like how I present in a given setting, right? Like,
Hmm.
oftentimes in my corporate spaces, I would be the only person with any sort of hint of color to their skin. So I'm like, oh shit, I just need to be a good law-abiding citizen and be grateful that I'm here. Like that often became the thing. And there was even comments around the hair and like, oh, your hair is so curly and this and that. I was like, oh shit, what are you really trying to say to me
I
right
would have
now?
been like, yeah,
Right.
yeah,
And
it's
so,
curly.
yeah. And so like even within my family, like my mom and dad, they divorced very early. My mom's family is more prim and proper, if you will. My dad's side more chill, more true to the Guyanese, if you will. So like I found that everywhere I go, I'm like a different version of myself. I'm like, this is very unsatisfying to me, but it's like I
Well,
felt
that's
like
just
it's what I
it. That
It's
is
what I
just
felt I
it.
had to do,
Yeah.
right? And
But
it's
how
like, then I
horrible is that?
well, really horrible because I got to a point, and I think it's really been as we've traveled in the last year or so, where I start to think, I'm like, okay, hang on, Josh. Like, so who are you? Like the full thing, not
Yeah.
corporate Josh, not going to dad's house, Josh. Like, just who's Josh? And that in itself became this thing because I started to test out the waters as I was in different spaces and like give all of me in whatever space I was in. And it's like I started to see like people wanted more of that. And it's like, are you kidding me? Like I held back so much of myself out of fear, and you could have liked me that much more. You know what I mean? Like we could have been that much closer. We could have had so many more stories and jokes and memories and whatever because I wasn't going to be as stiff.
Yeah.
You know what I
Well, it
mean?
just
It's like
removes
shit.
people that, like, don't align with you.
Yeah.
Just
So like the more we do that, like that's the I can't even tell you. Like I feel
it's
like
the
that's how
secret
we make
sauce.
ourselves the most proud.
Yeah,
Like
it's the secret sauce, especially if you're trying to be seen or known for something. The secret
yeah,
sauce is to literally give no fucks. That is the secret sauce. It truly is because
yeah,
people see themselves in that version of you.
yeah. That's true.
It is true.
Very true.
And
Yeah.
it's like you can spend your whole life being afraid to be and say and do the things that you're thinking as long as they're not weird things. Okay, guys?
Yeah.
Okay. Just draw the line at some things, okay?
Yeah.
But you need to be the most authentic version of yourself because that is
True.
that is your lighthouse.
Yeah.
And if you're afraid for people to see you, like especially if you're doing it on social media, just block people. I have my whole family blocked on one account. I blocked them.
Oh.
I blocked them all. High five. I just blocked them all, right? And it's not
Yeah.
because I don't love them. I love all my family, but that message doesn't align. And I was feeling that I couldn't be the fully expressed version of myself with
Yeah.
them watching. So I just blocked them.
Gotcha. I
Yeah.
found something super interesting along that line, like, so for example, tarot, right?
Yeah.
We talked
Sexy
about me
tarot
doing
with
sexy
Josh.
tarot, right? Which for those listening, essentially is kind of like a hybrid tarot reading slash
It would
OnlyFans
be
combo.
Josh, yeah, like shirtless doing tarot for you. I bet you if you paid him enough money, he'd probably do it.
Possible. Um, that would be my exclusive clientele. Like you have your exclusive clientele, right?
Yeah, like I'll do this for this group at this price point.
But it gave me an opportunity. So tarot, right? So tarot often, depending on who you talk about it with, it's like, oh my gosh, that's the devil's playground, whatever. So, I have on my mom's side, my grandma. And, she's been big in the churches wherever she's been. Her brother was a pastor himself and all that kind of stuff. So to me, I was like, oh my gosh, the moment my grandmother sees me doing a tarot reading in my stuff, like for sure a
Especially
prayer circle is going to be
topless.
called, right? Definitely a prayer circle is being called, right? So, so I was like, okay, like I'm not gonna block my grandma. So let's just see what happens, right?
Yeah.
So, ends up not really saying too much, but we end up in a conversation on a call, and I directly asked, like, what do you think about this, right? And it gave her a chance to actually talk to me about it. And I got to hear the things that were locked in her mind around it. And it gave us a chance to have a conversation about it. And then all of a
God forbid
sudden,
you have an
because
actual conversation. What?
exactly, right? But because we approached it that way, like a safe space was created and she was actually able to understand. And it was no longer this alarming thing or whatever it
Yeah.
was, right? It's
Yeah.
just like, oh wow, look at that. Like we had this opportunity to talk versus just clamming up or being like, oh, that's not from my Christian family. Like, let me keep that from them, whatever, right? And it's like, look, at the end of the day, a lot of the folks who have turned their back on me are people who have share the same blood as me. It's not people who I've met, right?
I know.
So, are you really going to hurt me? Like so that you've
Maybe
really
for a
helped me
few
with
minutes
that.
and then I'll get over it.
Yeah, no, but like seeing your dedication and your confidence to showing up fully as you want to,
Mhm.
right? In the
Mhm.
spaces that you are. That has been a big driver for me to try and embody more of the same and to also leave behind a lot of the reasons why I might not have even been doing that in the first place. Some of which I'm not
Yeah.
even in touch with. You know what I mean? It was just more of a reflex.
Well, because it gives you a chance to, like, look at, like, okay, I believe this, whatever it is that you believe. We know lots of things that I believe because I put it on social media. But whatever it is that you believe, but I'm scared to say that out loud. But that's a
Yeah,
problem. It's a problem. Like, say what you believe. There are going to be people that disagree with you. Like, there are some people that have beliefs that I do not agree with, but I don't think
mm,
they shouldn't put it out there. They
right.
definitely should, just like I should.
Yeah. Many things can be true at the same time.
Yeah.
and that's where I think a part of this work is, right? And in
Mhm.
allowing ours to be out there as well as yours.
Yeah. Yeah, I
We
don't
all
I'll just
matter.
block you if I don't agree with you. It's fine.
Yeah, easy
That's
peasy.
fine. I'll just block you. Well, it's funny because like me and my aunt got into a conversation one day about book banning. She's like, I don't agree with them banning these books at school. And she told me one of the books um that they were trying to ban. It was a book about a black kid, and essentially the book just pointed out racism.
Okay.
The book pointed out racism. And I said, "Well, I think they should ban that book." And she said, "Well, that's ridiculous." And I said, "Well, why are they pointing out that he's different?"
Mm,
I said, "He's not different."
mm,
I said, "He's a kid." I said, "All you're doing is
mm.
teaching them that he's different when he's actually just not different. He's just a kid. Why can't they just be playing and having a good time?
Wow.
Why can't they just all play soccer together and just have a great time? Why are we gonna point out that he's different? You're just teaching,
Wow.
children that he's different even he's not different. The fact of the matter is that he's not different. You just told everyone that he was. You taught him that he was different when he's actually not different. Do you see what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Why
Yeah.
would you point that out? Why are we pointing that out?"
Wow. And just yet another reason why we ought to, if we see something, say something, if you will, because,
Well, I'll
obviously there's
tell
been a
you,
lot of people. Yeah.
after that conversation, she was like, "Huh." Like, it really got her thinking, and I know a lot of people of different races will not agree with that, and they think that, "Oh, they should know," and blah, blah, blah. Kids should know that.
Mm,
Kids should know that he's different. Why is he different? Why are you pointing out racism? Because that's what you're teaching. Why can't
that's a
just
great
the
point.
black kid and the white kid be best friends and they have a good old time and they just have fun?
Yeah. Hmm.
How
That's a
about
very interesting
that?
point.
Why why are we going there?
Yeah. It's like we're setting ourselves up to just stay trapped in these different mental things. Yeah. Hmm. That's a wonderful point.
Isn't it crazy? Like, and she kind of had her eyes open, and I said, and then some of the other books she brought up, I said, "Oh, they should ban all of those books." And I have my reasons why, but that one really stuck out to me because like one of Molly's best friends is Malachi, is black kid, black Jamaican. We've known him since he was a baby and since Molly was a baby, and they've grown up together. And never once would she ever question the color of his skin. She asked me one time, I said, "Well," I said, "he's just skin color." I said, some people have different colors of skin and that's it. That's all. And that's
Huh.
it. Why are we pointing out that, oh, it pointed out racism and it was wrong. And that I think they should ban books like that.
Hmm.
And that's the reason why. And the people that were trying to ban the books thought the same thing. Let's not point out we're teaching racism.
Yeah. Wow. I haven't heard many of the conversations around, for example, the books that are, trying to be banned and whatnot. I've really only seen like literal lists of those books. So, as a reader of that, I'm kind of left wondering, okay, what's the logic behind like why that one, not this one?
Mhm.
And I think like what you pointed out here, I think that if that was actually shared in a realm of like people having an open conversation around these things, I think that would be like a huh, and like that would actually help them to rationalize these things a little bit more differently,
Well,
right? Because I
yeah.
think it's kind of just being like, okay, this is just what's going to happen, and that's the end of it. And it's like, what do you mean? Like, there's no understanding of why these books are being removed or banned or whatever's happened to be, right? And I think
Well,
that
they're
education
not
piece is
being
missing.
banned because people don't wanna ban them because they wanna continue to teach that shit, and in my eyes, the book should be banned. There's a lot of
Yeah.
books that should be banned for those specific reasons. Like, I do
Hmm.
realize how much of a touchy subject that is, but I think we should stop teaching children to be racist because that's what it does.
Hmm. And that's interesting because like one of the books that I've seen on the banned list is like 1984, for example, right? And like for that one, I think that that's from a different perspective of why they want to ban that one, right? It's
I
that.
don't know that book.
Oh, you don't know that one? Okay. Find it before it's banned. Um,
What's
essentially,
the
it
premise
is
of the book?
you've basically been living it since 2020. So it was written as 1984, but there's a theory that it was actually written about 1948 and how life was in 1948.
Okay.
But if it was written as that way, that would have removed it from the shelves and stuff like that. So it basically talks around the surveillance state, the whole idea that Big Brother is always watching, people
Oh,
getting
'cause they are.
rations of food,
Yep.
like I kid you not, it's like a playbook for what's happening.
Yep.
Right. So that to me is one of the reasons that book is being banned because it
Yeah.
heightens the awareness of what's actually happening to you. Right. But I totally agree. I think like you sharing that is going to be so powerful for your listeners. Just understand like how we need to examine these things and think beyond surface level of like this is just a like just argue for the sake of arguing. Don't ban this one or
Well,
ban
because
this
they
one.
make it like a left versus right thing. It's like, no, this is a right versus wrong thing. you
Mm,
are pointing out something that doesn't need to be pointed out. Let's just stop pointing that out because at the end of the day, you're pointing out that he's different.
true.
You're pointing that out. The
Yeah.
kids never thought that until you pointed it out,
Crazy. It's like
right?
pharmaceutical companies, right? It's like create the problem and then create the solution for the problem and create the treatment for the problem. It's the same thing. It's the same
It's
formula that
literally the
happens.
same thing. It's literally the same thing. And then, like, I only know about books that are like children's books that are like I think should be banned as well. And,
Yeah.
they are pushing an agenda. And it's to push the agenda. To push
Yeah.
that agenda. And that's like that could be a whole episode on its own. But the fact of the matter is like, unless we have a conversation like you did with your grandma and like I did with my aunt and just say, hey, this is why I think that way,
Mhm.
then maybe not everybody. And I know some people will hear this episode and be like, I don't agree with you. And we should be pointing out like what, black people went through and they should know. And I'm like, well, they shouldn't because they're kids. They should just play with each other and love each other. Or with like the tarot, you want your grandma to know it's something that you love and that doesn't make you a bad person because you want to do that or whatever. The fact of the matter is you had a great conversation
Yeah.
and that's it.
Yep. 100%.
And she understood you better.
Yeah. Absolutely. And
Like
I don't know.
more
I think
people
sometimes
need
we
to
just get into
talk.
conversations. Yeah, we just get
Yeah.
into conversation for the sake of being right, and no one's actually listening, and
Well, yeah, because they
it's
don't
just like,
care. They want the divide, right? And people are so set in their ways that they're unwilling to hear another opinion. Like if
yeah,
we like
everything is a challenge.
look at Charlie Kirk, it's a perfect example.
Yeah,
People are
I
unwilling to hear another person's opinion
very
because
true.
they don't agree with it. There's lots of people that didn't agree with what he said. I didn't agree with everything that he said, but I agreed with a lot of what he said. And I know people that just frickin' absolutely hated him and the fact that he would, challenge people and talk about that stuff. I was like, but why not talk to each other and try and understand? I have so many liberal friends. All my family members are liberal, and I still love them just the same. I just don't agree with that part of them. I don't have to hate you because I disagree with you.
Yeah, exactly. Right?
Like,
Like, and that's how we're gonna learn, right? Like that's how stuff can actually transpire, right? Otherwise, we're just sitting with people who are just like us, right? And it's not to say that we need to become each other, but I mean, if you're not listening, then you're not really, fully allowing yourself to have the human experience, in my opinion.
no, no, 100%. And I think that like maybe we're crazy. Maybe this conspiracy theories that we believe are false, but I can think that. What's wrong with me believing that? Some people believe in God, some people don't. What's wrong with that? That's
Exactly.
why I always say, like, if I bring up God or source or universe, like I say all three because some people don't believe in source or universe. Some people
Mm,
believe in God. I believe they're all the same entity. You know what I mean? God
yeah.
is inside you. You know what I mean? Like you are God.
For sure. And I honestly, I've removed myself from arguments where I know that there can never be any definitive
100%.
answer to the argument. So it's like,
100%.
okay, well, when you die, I'm not going to be at your side to prove that you met God, so that now we know that God exists. So,
Yeah.
like I remove myself from so many
Yeah.
pointless conversations aimed at just furthering this divide between all of us.
Yeah,
It's just
like,
like
unless
that's
I
cool.
am asked, I don't pursue the conversation, but, like, in this
Hmm.
instance with my aunt, we were talking about banning books, and she brought it up, so I was like, "Well, I'll tell you what I think about that." So, it's like, unless I'm approached about the conversation, I'm not gonna approach you and be like, "Well, you should believe this and blah, blah, blah." I don't care. If you come to me and you wanna talk about why I might believe certain things, I'm willing to have a conversation with you, but I'm not going to, like, come to you and be like, you should you should ban this book. Like, I'm not gonna go out there and, like, fight to have those books banned because I'm not gonna fight that fight. I'm just not gonna put that in front of I'm not gonna put that in front of my children. I'm gonna teach them that they should love everybody, and I'm not
Yeah,
gonna point out that the kid's different because he's not. That's the whole thing is kid's not different. It's not.
yeah, I
Just
hear
a
that.
kid. Everyone can just have fun.
Yeah. No, there's definitely so much learning that still has to happen when it comes to that, right? It's like, yeah, I get there's a place for honoring everyone's unique heritage and history and all those kind of things,
All of
but
it.
time
Yeah.
and place, time and place, and I mean, I'm sure you see it too. It's like these kids are almost being like intentionally overwhelmed with so many things that they can process
Propaganda.
nothing,
Yeah.
right?
And I feel like, what if there was a book that just introduced culture?
Hmm.
Why does it have to be about racism?
Ah,
Do you
yeah,
see what I'm saying? Like, why can't we just introduce the Guyanese culture and things that you guys do in your culture Why can't we just have a book
That's
where, like, the kids participate together and they all have a great time?
yeah.
What about that? Why can't we introduce, like, African American culture, something that you guys do where the white people come and everyone thinks it's great?
Hmm,
Why does it have to
interesting.
be like, "Oh, then this he's different because he's black and" No, he's not. We're not different. We're the same.
Yeah. Hmm, very powerful. I'm gonna take that one away. I mean, you always drop something that I'm taking away with me, so I'm gonna take that one
You're
away.
like, "Huh, hmm." I just think we stop teaching racism, then racism won't exist. And there was a really
Yeah.
powerful interview with, I think it was Morgan Freeman, and someone said to him, I think they asked him, like, "How do we stop racism?" And he said, "We stop talking about it."
Do you agree?
I do.
I'm talking about it, yeah.
I think we should stop pointing out that everyone's different because 'cause they're not. You're not different. Yeah, yeah, you got a little more tan than me, you're lucky. Like, I still love you. I love Suki. I don't care what color your skin is. You guys are
Yeah.
awesome, and that's how my parents raised me.
That's interesting because, like, in Guyana, like, Guyana is very much a place where it's like a cultural melting pot of people. Well, not even a melting pot necessarily, because like all cultures seem to feel welcome there to be themselves. They don't need to
Mhm.
meld into one thing. Right?
Yeah.
And, I find, I've always been someone who's had people in my life from all different backgrounds and whatnot, and that's never mattered one bit to me outwardly. But,
Me neither.
from their perspective, a lot of them have engaged with me because they've actually thought I'm part of their communities. And this is
Mhm.
like a variety of different groups, right? So it's like I never really face that level of division and stuff like that the way I've seen, say, some of my friends experience it, right? But
Mhm.
I think that so much of that it's so dependent on who raises you and what you grow up in, right? Like
For
I,
sure.
I even look around at like how mixed culture and race and whatever my family is, and it's like, well, we don't even necessarily have the social skills to ask and inquire about one another and like actually learn about each other and all this kind of stuff. We're not just like you're different from me or whatever. Like it's obvious like there's a little bit of a different, say, background or lineage or whatever it happens to be,
Of
but it's like we don't
course.
even talk about it,
Yeah,
right? And in its own way, I guess that does something to bring us together. But at the same time, it's like, well, we need to be. It shouldn't be such a taboo thing to ask a question,
yeah,
right? Like we need to understand that it's safe to also inquire and like try
of
and
course it is.
understand these different communities, right? But
Yeah,
I find that we kind of, I don't know if more people are maybe a little bit more progressive with that when they have mixed families and stuff like that. I haven't seen that emerge yet for mine, and I'm hoping it does. Um,
for
but
sure.
yeah, I
Well,
think that's one of the ways it'll happen.
I think that, racism is taught,
Mm.
not just in books, but, like, it's taught. Like, you raise your child to be racist if you're a
Yeah,
racist, you know what I mean? And you were probably racist because you were raised to be a racist. But what if somewhere down that lineage, they stopped pointing out the differences and just embraced everybody?
yeah, that would change everything. Totally.
That would change everything.
Yeah. Tot
Where we just accept people's cultural differences and we celebrate them like a book about cultural differences, not a book pointing out racism.
yeah. Hmm. You got something there.
I think
I
so,
mean,
but
if
that's just my opinion, so whatever.
yeah, I mean, if the world is actually ready to receive that, oh my goodness, that would create change like we've never seen before.
It's controversial because people don't like to talk about that, but I mean, I've even talked about this with my black friends, like, it's like racism truly is a taught behavior, right? So, if we stop talking about it and just embrace people for who they are, it would go away.
Yeah, definitely.
It wouldn't erase
You're
what
right.
happened in the past, but the past is also the past, so let's keep forging ahead
Yeah.
and try and make things better for the future because the past doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's true. We got to see what our broken habits are doing and keeping us stuck in and whatnot, and that stuff's got to change. But I mean, at the same time, I think people are more adept to the different behind the scenes or once behind the scenes agendas that were going on before, and there's
If
just
they can see
very
that that's what's happening, right? Because it
yeah.
does keep us divided.
Absolutely. Right. And we need to understand the mechanisms that are at play that work, to keep all these things, whether that is understanding how an algorithm works, whether
Mhm,
it's understanding, how to identify whether something is actually AI generated, for example, so that you can
mhm.
actually understand when certain things are being used as a force of manipulation. right?
Well, I mean, let's
Like,
be honest, the media is manipulating us, like, that's
oh
what's
yeah, 1 million
happening.
percent. That's why we end up creating our own podcast, right? Because we're creating content we can trust,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, and then people try and, stop those people from talking and, all of that stuff, but, like,
Yeah,
it's a perfect example is, like, there's that one there's many Instagrams of this people pointing it out, but it's, like, newscasts from across the country, and they're
yeah,
all saying the same thing,
crazy, right?
and it's like, if that doesn't raise a red flag, I don't know what will raise a red flag for you.
Yeah. But you know what I find happens nowadays, especially with everyone like, seeing some type of AI every single day, is like I find that when something gets very uncomfortable, right? Like say we see some, that footage that gets the disturbing footage ahead kind of thing, warning. Then when it gets too uncomfortable for us to confront that this could actually be reality, we say, oh, that's probably AI generated. Like, no, that's not real. Like I find like we're doing that a lot. So it's actually
Mhm.
removing this element of compassion, right? We're kind of just we're totally like avoiding the feeling. We're sidestepping it and
Well,
just
I think
attributing.
we could be numb to what we're seeing because we've been force fed like traumatic events, and it's like we're just kind of like, oh, yep, saw Charlie Kirk got shot in the neck and blood come gushing out of his throat. Yep, saw that happen. Oh man, and that should be devastating for people, but we're so desensitized because we're sown so much shit.
Yeah, that's
Like,
true. Yeah. Like I mean to parallel this to video games, when I was growing up, Grand Theft Auto was the big game that was on everyone's radars.
yeah,
Like, every kid wanted to play it and every parent was like, "No, you're not playing it."
yeah, yeah.
Right? Have you played it yourself?
Yes, of course I have.
Oh, okay. Just checking.
Yeah,
Um, but like I found that that was a big moment where we also got very desensitized or numbed
100%.
to a lot of things. And like that's why to me it's like when kids see shootings and stuff nowadays, it's like, okay, next, like keep scrolling.
Oh, when's the next
Like
one gonna be?
and it's certain things like that and then we just give a lot of power to that. We just keep blaming a video game for the state of things. It's like, guys, have we missed the entire point of the whole thing? Why are kids drawn to playing this type of game? Right? Like let's start at the beginning.
Yeah, like we're literally
Yeah.
feeding that we're being fed this stuff. Like,
Yeah.
you can either wake up to it or not, I guess,
Yeah.
And I guess the people that call it out are, we're crazy and
Too much time on our
whatever.
hands to just think. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. Well, it's funny, and the other one I saw was like, oh yeah, like it's not really a conspiracy theory anymore because it's all come true.
Very true. Yeah.
What about that? Is anyone going to talk about that?
Definitely not. Definitely not.
I don't even know how we got
Yeah.
down this rabbit hole, but
Yeah.
I'm
I'm
always
glad we did.
good for a rabbit hole myself.
Yeah.
Gone down a few, not quite out
Definitely.
of them yet, but that's fine. I'll be okay.
Just keep digging.
Um, I know. It's like I said earlier, Josh and I share quite a bit of reels between each other, and I said we're probably gonna go to hell.
At least we'll have company, right?
Hopefully, the good memes are there. Hopefully, they're there. Trust me, I don't even send you the worst of the worst. I save those for other people.
Trust me, I still hesitate on a few that I don't send. There are still some that are
Oh,
saved, but
send them. I can
definitely have
handle
not
it.
sent.
If anyone's going to be able to handle it, okay, okay, let's make a pact right here in front of everyone to hear. No matter what,
Okay.
how ruthless it is and how unhinged you may think I am, I'm going to send it to you.
Okay.
And you have to
Right
do
back at you. Yep.
you have to do the same. And I'll be like, "Oh
We're
yeah, he's
hellbound for
fucked,
sure.
but I'm
Yep.
good with it." You're going to be like,
That's
"What
a
is
commitment to
wrong with
authenticity
you?"
if I ever heard one.
I'm like, "What the hell is wrong with this girl?" I'll be like, "Yeah." I was like, "Now you really know."
Maybe we can get a 2-for-1 therapy discount.
No, we're fine. I'm fine. And I'm like yesterday in my first episode that I post of this podcast, I said, yeah, I just cut people off, snip, snip, motherfucker. And I was like, yeah, so that might not be healthy for me, but that's okay. I said, I think it's healthy for me.
There you go. You know best. I love it.
Whatever. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
I
Anyways,
so
we
look
should
forward to
wrap
tuning into
this
every
up.
episode of this. Yeah.
Pardon me. Say that
I
again.
so look forward to tuning into every episode of your podcast.
There will be some unhingedness because the idea of this podcast is a raw, real conversation that's uncut. Of course, I will
Mhm.
cut out pauses and stuff like that, guys. So don't get all like, when you see things have been cut because it's just
'Cause
little
you're a tech wizard.
pauses. Like, I'm a tech
Yeah.
wizard. So I
Mhm.
will be cutting pauses. But the idea of this my idea for this podcast was that it's a raw, unfiltered conversation. Whatever comes up, comes up.
I love it.
And
Thank
that's
you
it.
for this.
Well,
Oh,
kind of
you're
when
so
you
welcome.
asked me,
Thanks for
I was
having me.
like, all right, you want to be on mine?
Oh, I'm so grateful. To be honest, you are my first. I think you're actually my first invite.
Really?
Like the first person to invite me onto their podcast. So
Well, I'm
I thank
telling
you
you
for that.
this. I mean, I believe this about everything that I do, but I believe that those creators that didn't respond or said no, they're gonna regret it. They're gonna
They
regret
will.
it. They're gonna wish that they were you. I believe it.
Yep. And
I
when they come
could
back, let them
be
know to talk to your assistant, right?
I could be blowing smoke up my ass as I often do, but I'm just gonna go with it.
The right ones will come.
They will. And they'll be like, wow,
Yeah.
that podcast's huge. I never should have said no. It's like, right, and now you don't get to be on it.
They
Too
missed out.
bad. So sad.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell everybody where they can find you. I'll of course link everything in YouTube and everywhere that this is playing.
Awesome. So, everyone, you can find my podcasts. I have two podcasts, the Umana Yana podcast and Soul Flow Radio. All right. So you can find both of those. All the episodes are on YouTube. My channel is the Self Mastery Consultant. And you can also find me on Instagram. That's my handle on there as well, the Self Mastery Consultant. That's my personal account. Then, if you're looking for the Mindful Masculinity in Motion movement, we have presence across all the platforms. So you can look that up on Instagram, on Facebook, LinkedIn. We also have a page. YouTube, you're going to see the content that's going to appear on my personal page. And we also have Spotify. Spotify, we actually have created a playlist together, which is pretty cool. So you can catch that there. And on my Instagram page, my personal one is where you can find all of the different things that I do.
Mhm.
And you can find ways, just send me a message if you're interested in working with me in one of the many capacities that I do things in. And we can get to talking. For me, everyone is welcome. I don't just work with men, I work with everyone. And it's really all about that personal empowerment. So all of my services are for everyone.
I love that. I love that.
Okay.
And at some point, guys, you're gonna have to tune in because Josh and I are also gonna do an episode about Diddy.
Oh,
Diddy do it?
that's going to be a slippery episode.
I'll bring the baby oil. And with
That's so funny.
that, thank you for tuning in.
Thanks, everyone.